Yeah, excuse me, damn. How's it going, everybody? This is the Hammered Airsoft Smith, and this would be my third music vlog. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about mental illness or mental health in music. I'm fully aware that you don't have to be involved with music in any way, shape, or form to get mental illness. It can happen to anybody. Some people are born with it, some people develop it. But it was certainly something that was been heavily overlooked over the generations. It just seems like it's, I don't know. I don't know why people ignored it for so long, or they were in denial, or I don't know what it is. But I'm really glad. I mean, it took forever, but I'm really glad that now there's like people going out there and really talking about mental illness. And I think a lot of it within the last year has to do with Talinda Bennington and oh, I can't remember her name right now. Chris Cornell's wife. They did this thing after their husbands passed away, mental illness, and they were really speaking out a lot about this. They're very public about it, and I'm happy to know that there's a lot of people now that are building up the courage and kind of just coming out and expressing the fact that they are dealing with mental illness. It's not an easy thing to talk about for a lot of people. I'm one of those people where it's actually usually really hard for me to talk about my problems because I guess because it's the way I grew up, I kind of felt like nobody cared, kind of thing. I know, boo hoo, woe was me. You know, it's not what I'm saying. I don't give a shit. My life is like never, ever been about me. Yeah, I'm not. It's too late to start now. um, but talking about it, and people actually, like I said, were coming out lately and just expressing what they're going through, and the musicians really help that too, in the sense that they are a celebrity form, and the reality of it, I mean, they wouldn't be celebrities if it weren't for people liking them and being fanatics and all that stuff. I mean, like Mitch Lucker said, God rest his soul. I mean, he would always say that his band wasn't shit without his fans. And it's true. They didn't get noticed, and people didn't spread word, and people weren't loyal to this idea. Suicide Silence, for example. It's where Mitch Lucker used to be the vocalist for. Um, it's like, but he didn't pass away from mental illness, though. It was a motorcycle accident. But anyways, people look up to celebrities, and celebrities put themselves out there for people to hear. And if people hear that these successful people are going through things, it's not like it makes them happy in the sense like, ha ha ha, you're suffering. No, it's the nice realization that, okay, you're not alone, and these people that look very successful have struggles too. Just because you're a celebrity doesn't mean you don't have problems. Just because they appear to be perfect, quote unquote, for media use, doesn't mean that their background is all that perfect. Again, mental illness. There's a lot of struggle with the whole mental illness thing, because, you know, I don't even know where to begin. Or where to go from here, because there's just so many ways to go about it. Like, as you can imagine, mental illness is a big struggle. I mean, a struggle. It's like, don't we all know by now what happens when certain people reach a point, you know, where enough is enough, and they don't want to hurt the people around them or feel like a burden to the people around them anymore, and then they resort to doing what they think is like the most logical and pretty much the only way out. And a lot of people say, oh, you gotta be a coward to do that. It actually takes a lot of fucking guts to do that. It really does. And, you know, I mean, oh, it's all raw footage. Like, when you have a mental illness, a lot of people like to say things like, oh, maybe you need to see a therapist, or maybe you need to talk about it. Okay. It's like, regardless of how that makes you feel, it's kind of like, okay. Well, therapists cost money, so the first thing you're gonna do is talk to somebody you know, right? I mean, obviously, with mental illness, whatever you want to express isn't exactly the happiest thing ever. It's actually pretty bleak. And, go to somebody to go and talk about something like that, and they're just kind of like, they either judge you by, you know, oh, you're crazy, you know. Calling someone crazy is so dismissive. Don't call someone crazy. Because you obviously don't know what the fuck crazy is. People get over dramatic about what, you know, how people act, so, and they don't understand why they're acting that way, and they just don't want to learn or hear why you're acting that way, so it's just easier for them to turn around and just say you're crazy. Oh, that's just crazy, you know. It's kind of like, you know, you talk to people about things, and you try to express how you feel, and they're just kind of like, I go through too. Like, we're at a point, probably, I'm gonna assume, I might go to hell, but I'm not gonna, I'm just gonna assume that, it's not always easy to talk about, but I feel like it's something that I really wanted to express. So I am struggling a little bit, I won't deny. I'm also not 100% focused, I'm not 100% there. Maybe this wasn't the best time to do this, I don't know, but I just felt like I should do something that I like to do, so here I am. Yeah, you go to people about it. It's like the last thing you want to hear is someone saying something dismissive, like, "Oh yeah, you know, I deal with that too." It's like we already know this. People go to people for something or almost anything other than to be dismissed, because then they just feel like you just don't give a shit, like you just don't have time. Well, I'm sorry that what's burdening me is a burden on you. I think people tend to forget that when they know someone that has a mental illness, they tend to forget that the person with the mental illness is actually, in fact, dealing with a lot more than you are pertaining to their mental illness. Which means, say if I have mental illness, why not? And say my one friend doesn't have it. And I express that to them. And they're just kind of like, whatever about it, you're just kind of like, well, why the fuck did I even bother? See, people want people to express themselves because they tell you to go see a therapist, whether they're joking or not. That's one of the most common things. Go talk to somebody, go see a therapist, and then you pick somebody to go talk to. You pick them. They could have went to anybody. They pick you to talk to about that because they trust you for some reason, and you're just kind of like, I don't have time for this. It's and when I've getting back on track, it's like the person that does not have mental illness is not suffering from your mental illness, than the person who's carrying it, the person who has it. You don't know exactly 100% what somebody's going through in their head. You don't. You can never say you do. You can imagine. You can say, oh, I can imagine. Or I have an idea, or something like that. Something not dismissive. There's other ways to express that you know, or that you're going through it, than just saying, me too. No, I deal with it too. I don't know, maybe I'm weird. Maybe I expect too much. I try to, like, be there for people. And you'd be surprised about how many people vent to me about their problems. I know so many things about a bunch of people, but I guess they know that they can trust me because I don't talk to nobody about other people's personal shit. There's no reason. It's not my business. People can tell me whatever they like, and it is not going to go anywhere but between the people involved in that specific thing. There's no reason. I had to grow up fast. I don't give a fuck. Now, that's something that you shouldn't have time for, is the drama bullshit. The person dealing with it is the one who's dealing with it the most. You're on the bench. Maybe be positive. Maybe people wouldn't feel like they gotta resort to something drastic. But then they're mocked and they're called dramatic and all this other shit, but it's not a fucking joke. You're talking about someone going beyond their breaking point. Are you condoning these actions? I don't think it's right to condone them. And, it's not right to dismiss, it's not right to condone, and it's not right to mock and all that shit. But, trying to get back at the topic, illness in music, mental illness in music. I got something here from Loudwire. Loudwire is on YouTube. I watch them all the time. I trust them. It's a Loudwire, and there's another music one. It's more rock and roll based, but they do talk about other music sometimes. Just give some news, keep us, up to date what's going on with music, albums coming out, people, going to court, shit like that. It's kind of like News 12, but it's just music. Yeah, so from Loudwire, report 73% of independent musicians suffer from mental illness symptoms. A new study found that 73% of independent musicians reported suffering from mental illness symptoms in the past, while only 19% felt the music industry provides healthy working conditions. The stats originated from Record Union, a Swedish-based digital distribution platform that conducted the survey among nearly 1,500 indie musicians from March 21st to April 2nd, Billboard reported Tuesday, May 7th. My mouth is really dry. Stutter, stutter, stutter. Okay. Record unions results surmised that nearly 3/4 of indie musicians have experienced stress, anxiety, and/or depression in relation to their work. The numbers were worse for the younger artists. Among those aged 18-25, 80% of respondents said they experienced negative mental health affected root in their music careers. Our study is telling us that something needs to change, Record Union CEO John Svanberg said in a statement provided to Billboard. It's time to put the state of our artists' mental health on the agenda before streams and commercial success. We as an industry must wake up and ask ourselves what's our responsibility in this and what can we do to create a healthier music climate. As further detailed in the report, 33% of the over 1,000 musicians surveyed they have experienced panic attacks, while 57% reported worrying about their mental health and well-being. 41% said they worry about it multiple times per day. However, only 39% and 33% of those aged 18 to 25 said they had sought treatment for the symptoms, within 51% diverging self-medicating tactics. This is why you hear so much in the music industry or on media about a lot of musicians. There's a stereotype about how a lot of musicians get drunk and high all the time. And I'm not saying it's okay, but there is a significant pattern there. It's like a gift and a curse to be so gifted, but you're gifted because of your curse. Your curse helps you develop a talent to express what you have been through, what you are going through. We as fans are strangers to these people, and we probably listen to their problems more than the people in their families and their friend circle. That's pretty fucked up. That's pretty fucked up. That's not me reading right now either. That's me saying this. Music comes from expression. Your emotions, or at least that's where it should come from. But if you write music that doesn't, music doesn't really have a boundary. So, to each their own, blah, blah. To me, there's like almost nothing worse that I've experienced than feeling like you can't talk to anybody. Because people should understand that when people dealing with mental illness are alone, it's like being in a really shitty neighborhood. In the middle of the night, you're lost, you have no idea where the fuck you are, and anything can happen. I'm not saying you need to coddle these people. No one's asking to be coddled. No one's asking to be like, oh, it's okay. These people are not babies. They're fucking warriors. They're dealing with this. Not everyone deals with this. I know more and more people do. More and more, again, have admitted to it. But, like, people in general dealing with mental illness are fucking soldiers. Any kind of disability, really, makes you a soldier because you're getting by. You're succeeding in something. You're getting through life when most would struggle in your situation. Most would fucking crumble in your situation. They would break. Maybe some reassurance, you know, light. Yeah, we know that we're not the only ones dealing with it. We're aware. How could you not be? The study called the 73% Report by Record Union has compelled the company to donate $30,000 to projects designed to treat or prevent mental illness among musicians. If you have an idea for such a project, you can submit yours here. There's a link. Between May 7th and June 2nd, those selected will be published on the site June 3rd, and users will be able to vote for their favorite before June 16th. The top 10 will then meet with an expert panel to determine which 3 projects will split in the final award. Those last couple of seconds, I don't give a shit about. Like, okay, it's like a friggin' competition now. And that's the other thing too. It's like very dismissive when people act like if 2 people are conversing and they both have mental illnesses and you're both aware and you both understand, then why is it that when one would go and talk to the other, for them to just be like, well, I'm dealing with it. I don't know. I know I mentioned that earlier, but but it's like kind of like after they say that, they're just sometimes they'll be like, oh well, I deal with this and this and this and this. I didn't realize it was a fucking competition. I didn't realize it was something to be happy about, because usually in competition there's supposed to be happiness in that, because usually in competition you're competing for something, a fucking reward, a trophy, something. There's something good at the end of the fucking rainbow, right? That's how you make it sound. It's like, it almost sounds like they're happy knowing that their life is more fucked up than yours, so to speak. I'm not competing with anybody. I don't want to wish my shit on anybody. It fucking sucks. Do you think these people like it? But you know what? At least they're getting by. At least they're fucking doing something. And the more people feel alone about what they're going through, the more they're just gonna get used to it. And they're just gonna be like, why have anybody that I can talk to? When I did have people to talk to and I couldn't. What's the difference? Why have people on the bench if they're not ready to fucking play? Like, the music industry has traditionally been defining success on commercial terms. Svanberg added, to be seen as successful, you need to reach high sales and tour goals. It's always money first to create a more suitable music climate with healthier artists. We believe that this needs to change and that the artists need to start thinking about their mental health as part of the success. The results from the latest in a series of studies examining music and its impact on our mental and physical surroundings. Earlier this month, 2 professors concluded that music streaming is bad for the environment. Okay. Okay. This is not me saying this. This is me quoting what Loudwire has put up. So, I can name so many musicians, artists that have dealt with mental illness, and the only reason why I'm even saying their names is because this is public. I didn't know this. I don't know these people personally. They didn't tell me themselves. Media, or they said in an interview, or whatever. in one way, shape, or form. Their music even may be telling us what they're going through. So it's not a fucking secret, but just throwing it out there. Tupac Shakur fought depression. Oh, you didn't know that? Kurt Cobain, I mean, surprise, surprise. As far as I know, he had bipolar and depression and whatever else. Chester Bennington. I believe Corey Taylor. I could be wrong. I'm not saying this is written in stone. I never claim to know everything. I don't. Some of the guys from Metallica, especially when Cliff Burton passed away, most of them or all of them got heavily into alcohol, hence the nickname Alcoholica. But they might have had that nickname before. I mean, I know they drank. I might have had the timeline there fucked up, but the point is that they dealt with a lot of instances or whatever, some shape or form of mental illness. And some people are lucky, they get a mental illness that's quote unquote temporary. It just went away. Let me drink something. I got my coffee here. I'm still kind of waking up, if you haven't noticed. I know Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park as well dealt with a lot of depression, especially after Chester passed away. That was like his best friend. Jesse Leach, Killswitch. Howard Jones from Killswitch. Both guys ended up having to leave the band a few times. Again, from what I remember, from what I understand. Because of depression. The touring, people don't realize the touring fucking beats on musicians. It fucking beats on them. Like, it's not all just picking up instruments and just going out. No, there's a lot of fucking work. You're like away from home most of the fucking year. You hardly see anybody. I mean, sure, yeah, if you're in a band or whoever, you're in a music group. It's like, yeah, you're with your crew, your homies, But it's like, people miss wives and kids and or husbands or whatever, other family, and you get a lot of the separation anxiety, and they just want to fucking go home. Some people look at that childish. Some people think mental illness in general is childish. They think you're seeking attention. It's like a fucking game to them. Not everybody, but Kendrick Lamar dealt with depression. He talks about it in his music, especially on the album Good Kid, Mad City. Talked about it on The Pimp a Butterfly as well. Actually, he's not afraid to admit, he has got that in common with Tupac. He's not afraid to admit his fucking depression. That takes fucking balls, because people are so quick to judge. It's just an excuse, like when people say, when you're depressed, they're just like, you're not depressed, you're just lazy. Now that's childish. To fucking sit there and just call someone fucking lazy because you don't want to hear about what's making them feel that way. I don't know when people are gonna wake the fuck up and realize this is not a game. Like, you're making shit worse when you do that. Why do you keep doing that? I remember kids getting picked on in school growing up. And there was that whole quote-unquote emo phase thing that went around. And people who were quote-unquote emo got their asses fucking beat, and people bullied them too, because everyone just fit For some reason, they were fitting this emo thing and mental illness and, depression more commonly or whatever. Like a fucking joke. They treat it like it's a fucking joke. They bully these people because they look that way. Or there's a girl in school that I knew. She, self-harmed. She had marks on her arm. And kids picked on her all the fucking time. Oh, you emo slut. Fucking just kill yourself already. Blah, 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 blah. What the fuck is wrong with you? You act like there's something wrong with the people who have the mental illness. They're called crazy? You want to dismiss their problems and call them crazy? Meanwhile, you're the one who's, like, in essence, getting off on this fucking thing and making a mockery of it. If me feeling like that's fucked up makes me a pussy, then I'm a fucking pussy. I don't care. It's the last thing on my mind. I do not care. But, I mean, I'm not trying to make it about me, but it is my vlog, Haha, insert corny joke, whatever. But, like, I also kind of wanted to publicly serve my issues in the same way that these celebrities do. Except I'm not a celebrity, obviously. But that's what my agenda is. I don't have, like, I'm at an age where a lot of it doesn't bother me. Like, a lot of my past or whatever's don't really bother me. It's just the mental illness in general is haunting. Being depressed, anxious, and having PTSD. PTSD isn't something only veterans get, by the way. And the numbers and the ratings of people developing PTSD have been going up way too much lately. I've been noticing that. I'm paying attention to you because I'm within that community. I know how that is. That's me being compassionate and having empathy. I like being there for people. I don't want to see people get hurt. I know it sounds corny, but it's a fact. I'm a docile person. I just want people to just be happy and enjoy life. Because you never know. That coffee, dude. I feel like if people just hear it in a positive way instead of a dismissive way, I mean, it just puts more light on it. And again, I know I keep mentioning it, but it really does make an impact when you go from saying, oh, well, I go through it too, as opposed to, hey, I'm dealing with this, and I just wanted to I don't know, lately I've been wanting to talk about it. Lately I've been wanting to talk about my fucking problems. Is that okay? Like, people always told me, you need to talk about your problems more. I never used to talk about my problems to anybody. I was very closed off with that shit. I was very private, and I was just like, I don't care to express it. I just don't care. And, but over the years, I keep hearing people talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. So, now I want to fucking talk about it. I think it's healthy to talk about it. Especially if you do it in a way like this. Because, well, I don't know, because I wanted to. It's the only excuse I need. Or reason. Um, if I made any sense at all in this video, oh my god, I would actually be pretty happy. Because I feel like I'm so all over. It's hard to keep focus. Like when I don't know if anyone knows this, but I'm just saying, like when you have depression or PTSD or you know mental illness like those, it's like there's symptoms that come with it. You know, stuff that comes with the territory, like chronic fatigue, anxiety. You know, some cases fucking ulcers because of stress. And if you look at depression, oh, chronic fatigue. You look at PTSD, oh, look, chronic fatigue. And then you have both depression and PTSD. It's like it stacks. I think so many out there would disagree with me, and that's okay. But I really do think that stacks. It's like double the fucking fatigue. I'm too young to feel like I get zero rest whatsoever when I know I sleep all night. Like, I'm sleeping, but where's the energy? And then, you know, depression is lack of an appetite. PTSD also has depression itself as a symptom. I'm not laughing at it. I'm laughing because you see how ridiculous this is? It's just like, and I really do think things stack. Like, you can have depression before you have PTSD. And then if you develop PTSD, it just adds more depression and fatigue. If you were chronically fatigued all the time, you would get depressed. Don't say you won't, because being fatigued sucks. You just want to lay around all the fucking time. And you're just being lazy. Just always remember that. Not really, but okay. Oh man. I really wish people would just wake the fuck up. Like more. Because apparently not everyone's lights are on. It's like standing on like a... Yeah, that big sign in Hollywood. You know, that says Hollywood. It's like standing on that thing and looking at the city at night. It's like, okay, now everyone's lights are on. That's what it's like looking at that. We all know everyone's got problems. We don't need to keep fucking hearing about it. Like, when I just said that to explain myself there. It's like, I'm going on a loop now. My bad. Again, it kind of just goes with the way you go about it. I don't know, just act like you give a fuck. Is it really that hard? Is it asking much? No one's asking for a gazillion fucking dollars. I don't know, you say you want to fucking be there for people and you don't. It's like, what the fuck? And I'm pretty sure I talked about in the introduction, or maybe, no, I don't think I talked about this in the MySpace one. But, Shit, I forgot. Oh, but I did remember something else I wanted to mention. Another symptom of depression or PTSD or a lot of other things. I'm not just talking about depression and PTSD. I'm just talking about what I know about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like a know-it-all. Like I know everything. I'll always admit, like I said earlier in this video. Here we go, another loop. I don't know everything, and I'm not just being facetious. No, I really don't know everything. I'm always down to learn shit. I like learning. School would be cool if you didn't have a bunch of fucking dickhead people going there. Bullying causes depression. There's a lot of things that can make you develop depression and PTSD. Life fucking happens, throws one at you and hits you in the gut, knocks the fucking wind out of you, and you're trying to figure out how the hell you got there. You don't even know what you hit, like what hit you. Something that really kind of pissed me off about like the whole Kurt Cobain and Chester Bennington thing is that when they passed away, a lot of people were like, how could they do that? They were, these icons and they had kids and, and wives and all this other shit and blah, 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 blah. I understand that thought, but there's a hell of a lot more to that. If that's the first thing that comes to your mind, I don't think you've ever dealt with depression or anything that depression comes with. Because it's like, if you knew better, you wouldn't be saying that. Because materials don't really mean anything when you're that depressed. They don't. Because you're not on this planet because of fucking materials. And as far as family, a lot of the time, people who are depressed feel like their friends and family and whoever else would be better off without them being around. They feel like they are a burden. They feel like they're dragging people down. And my question is why aren't people being there for these people? It's not like these people were silent. They weren't silent about it at all. And I want to know who could have been there for them when they when they weren't, and could have prevented things. You know what I mean? And I know there's a lot of speculation with Kurt Cobain. Was it suicide or was it a murder? I'll leave that for another video. But regardless, the point was what people thought first, or seemed to think first, was how could he leave all that behind? They were so successful. Sometimes people get depressed because they're success. Because they feel like there's no challenges anymore. They feel like there's nothing really, like they're at the cul-de-sac. They're just kind of like, well, now what the fuck do I do? And when people get depressed, they lose interest. They lose focus. Has it been evident that I've been fucking losing focus like in every video? At one point or another, you would think I had ADHD or something. Or ADD, whichever one. I don't know everything about both of them, but whichever one suits that. It just looks like my attention span is in the negative. It's like, oh, like a butterfly. Like, literally, in one video, this bug flew on my hand. I was like, oh, look. I mean, that was a little more obvious. He flew on my hand, and I was being cool, but I didn't want to fucking kill him or just, like, get the fuck out of here. I'm trying to be cool with him. I'm in his house. We respect people's homes. I know depression affects the people, and other mental illnesses affect, those affect the people around you, but the people dealing with that, they're not trying to burden. They didn't ask to feel or think that way. I didn't say, oh, this sounds great, sign me up. And there's all these talks about medications. Some people don't take medication. It's just in their, for lack of a better term, their self morality, I guess. Like, they just don't feel comfortable. Some people can't because it makes them sick. They throw it up, so it's like, what's the point of you taking it? And then the symptoms, the side effects, but yeah, which in a sense turn into symptoms, of these medications just make matters worse. Like, come on, man. Have you not seen the commercials where it's like, oh, take this, if you are feeling depressed, take this medication, but here side effects include, suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety, vomiting. It's like, oh, awesome. I can't wait to fucking try that. There's chemicals in these things. Are they not? Correct me if I'm wrong. I can accept being wrong, but it's like, are there not chemicals in there? And usually when you have mental illness, it's like, oh, you got a chemical imbalance. No? Don't people say that? And then it's like, you're putting, you're putting chemicals that go to your fucking head, and they alter how you think. And in turn can ultimately alter your personality, and you don't even know that fucking person anymore. I've seen that shit go down. I've known people who went in and they were hooked on these medications and everything like that. It's almost like it brainwashes them. I'm not saying don't take medication. If it works for you and you don't mind and you're happy, that's what fucking matters. But like, like, pills don't always make things better. They just don't. And, then, in music, and not only in music, of course, obviously, people who aren't musicians, they seek, self-medication, speaking on pills, and they would take all kinds of different drugs, like heroin, or cocaine, or smoke a lot of pot, but come on, pot, like, booze, and it gets way fucking out of hand. People who get addicted, I'm sorry, I say this out of love, and I say this because I care, but it's like people who become addicts, it's a very fucked up thing watching someone just be caustic to themselves. Using drugs and alcohol it fucking sucks. It's like you're watching someone just wither away. It makes you depressed. And then they might do the unthinkable, and now you're like, well, what the fuck do I do? And I know a lot of people are like, oh, stop fucking crying, move on. Those people who say that, I guess, aren't thinking in their head, well, maybe I shouldn't say that, because I might just jinx my fucking self. Like, don't fucking say things like that. No one's asking for anything, just for people to just understand and treat them like they're fucking people instead of treating them like they need to be locked away. Perfect example for that. If you're a Metallica fan, Welcome Home Sanitarium. People want to make you feel more crazy than you really are. And that in turn could lead to someone actually going fucking crazy. Does that make you fucking happy? Like, I just don't get it. Maybe I got this thing all wrong. Maybe I'm fucked up. Maybe I'm weird. Maybe I need to change the way I think. Tell me. I'm open to learn. Like, drained me out of it. Alright. I'm sure like any other video, I'll forget something I want to mention. But, I'm pretty sure that's all I really wanted to mention. Yeah, at the end of the day, just be there for people. Don't assume because you may believe that you have it worse than somebody that you shouldn't be there for them. Or don't assume that they appear to be happy, that they're always happy. Like, are they really happy? I mean, here's another song, you know, you think about Linkin Park, One More Light. I mean, come on, that song says it all. The song says it all. Does it really take that much out of you to be there for somebody? If you're somebody who does not have mental illness, I pray that you never get it. Even if you feel like it's all a joke. Even if you feel like we're all just wallowing in self-pity. Even so, I pray to God that you never ever get any mental illnesses. Alright. I want to thank everybody for listening. And, you know, listening to my bullshit. Even though it was relevant to what I was speaking on, I like to, again, try to incorporate my own shit into it. Because I'm trying to create a platform of awareness. And, yeah, I don't know. I just appreciate you guys sticking around, listening to my bullshit, and dealing with my bullshit. I guess I'll say, if you liked this video, like, subscribe, share, or don't, or whatever. High power. Peace.